It's a world where we neither own nor control our identity, data, or finances. In this current version most of us use, Web 2, the internet is geared towards user-generated content and convenience. That content is controlled by centralized entities like email providers and search engines that have access to your personal data. Then, Web 3 was introduced. It's an effort to decentralize the internet, but a lot of its tools are still controlled by a few centralized entities and aren't very easy to use. And yet, there are good parts of both versions. So, to create a truly decentralized internet, we're combining the accessibility of Web 2 and Web 3's goal of returning control back to you. The result? Web 5. It's a new version of the internet that we're collaboratively building. Web 5 is composed of 3 pillars: decentralized identifiers, verifiable credentials, and decentralized web nodes, all of which are open web standards. Combined, they create a truly decentralized online experience that hands control of your data back to you.
Hello, happy Friday, everyone. If this is your first time tuning in, you're watching TBD TV, which is a weekly live stream that we do every Friday, talking to different experts in SSI. Today, we're particularly speaking with an active community member who is basically, or has been for the past few months, building a super app for communities with Web5. So we're going to kind of dive into learning what that is, and like how it works and how he's implemented Web5. Before we dive into that, I just want to go ahead and highlight some of our community members that we appreciate. If it would start, or I'll bring Sondre up on the stage. Let's see. All right. So apparently the video is not starting. I'll try again a little bit later, but that's okay. Hey, I just want to say hi to you, Sondre. And before I usually have people introduce themselves, I didn't prepare you for this, but I have a quick icebreaker question for you just to get the conversation started. And the question is, okay, sorry about that. It's so because I was concerned about you having internet issues, but I'm having internet issues.
Yeah.
So you're hopefully nothing else happens, like fingers crossed, but you're out, you're like in some nature background right now because you're traveling. I wanted to ask you very quickly for the icebreaker, like what was my question? What is your favorite place to travel to and why?
Okay, thank you for the question. Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure. My favorite place to travel? Oh, I would have to say Montenegro at the moment. That's where I'm traveling right now. So sitting here.
What's it called?
Montenegro.
Oh, Montenegro. Ooh, that's where you're traveling? Is it for some, is it for business or pleasure? You're like going for fun?
I feel like it's sort of a digital nomad now since I started working on this application I'm working on. So I'm basically working everywhere. I was on the bus now to the airport. I was coding on the bus, fixing a few bugs, going to the airport after this conversation, fix more bugs and develop more features. So,
Nice. So
no,
you're
it's just for pleasure, and I've been staying there a little bit recently.
awesome. That's great. I love that. So you're kind of like the folks that um they like, you see on the internet, Twitter and all that. They're like, "Yeah, I'm coding on the beach." And I'm like, "That's not realistic," but you're actually doing it. I love that.
Yeah, I've done it a little bit before, but now after started doing Ariton a bit, just trying to combine pleasure and work even more than before. Yeah.
Awesome. I'd love for you to go ahead, and that I think this is a good transition. I'd love for you to go ahead and explain to us, like, as the founder of Araton, what are the types of projects you're focusing on and the problems you're trying to solve?
So I'm involved with various type of projects that is under a foundation called Free Cities Foundation. It was started by Titus Gable many years ago, and it's basically working with all this type of different communities, intentional communities that exist globally. And me and my friend, we started something similar here in Norway called Liberstad in 2017, and ever since then I've basically been developing various kind of software that we need to run this community. And I figured, like, it's kind of boring just making software for us. I want to have a bigger audience, and I also realized and seen that there's been a lot of issues with replicating the physical communities that we have into the digital world. Like, most of the time online, it's just like if you go on x.com and other Facebook, it's all about pitching people against each other and making arguments. And there's also, in terms of the functionality that exists, it doesn't really replicate what we have in real life sometimes in the type of communities we have. So that's the basic premise. And then as I started working on this, and like I learned about DID and verifiable credentials a long time before Web5 sort of coined. And the more I work on this, the more I get inspired, and I just changed the wording on the Ariton website. It's just like Ariton.app. And the main slogan now is basically rediscover the web, because I've sort of grew up with the World Wide Web. I've been developing since I was a kid, and I've seen how the world have changed a little bit. What we used to navigate the World Wide Web by clicking links and going through catalogs and discovering things, and like the cybernaut discovering the web. And then the search engines removed all of these categories more and more, and eventually it's just a search input, right? So you put a search, and then whatever comes up is what you're served. You don't really discover things anymore. And I think that's what's also why a lot of people like the new trend with AI now, because you can just explore so much cool opportunities with these prompts. But I want to go a little bit back to the way the web was before, and it was user created content and also discoverable in a very different way than it is today. And the final thing is, like, I'm just tired of having one app for everything. So that's one of the things that triggered me also. I want to have seamless login across multiple apps. I mean, I come from I work in a lot of different corporations, and we've always relied on like stuff like the Microsoft Azure Cloud and Office 365. And like, if everyone would have to use the different username and passwords for logging into email, to Word, to presentation, like it would just be a mess. So I think that we are kind of in that mess today with the app stores on both Android and iPhone, and I want to try and combine more functionality into an app. That's what I want to do.
That's really interesting. I didn't ever even thought about maybe that's the reason why. I think one thing you said was like that people are attracted to AI because of that discoverability aspect. I never thought of that as the reason. And I think you're right. I think in an effort to make the web easier or more streamlined, we kind of took away parts of the web that were really fun. So I'm curious and interested and excited to see where your app and your company continues to grow. I'll highlight a couple of comments that we have here. Dr. Kimchi, they said, "What's up to you?" I don't know, maybe you know them personally.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Hello.
And then we have Ace that said, hey, everyone. And Angie said hi, too. So thanks for tuning in, y'all. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I think you started to kind of dive into it a little bit in what you last just told us. But like, what was the pivotal moment for you that sparked your interest in Web5?
I mean, there's a lot of things, and it goes pretty far back. I actually implemented my own DID method some years ago because we needed something with more specific needs of functionality. So it's the decentralized identity stuff that have interested me a lot. I believe that people should be allowed to have like multiple identities and act in different settings depending on what type of community you're into or kind of social network you want to work on. So I think like that's on Facebook today. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but I think like they validate, they do like know your customer properly. You're only allowed to have one account, etc. So I want to have a future where people can have multiple accounts and then they can just use what makes sense in the different contexts and different settings. So that's one thing, but also verifiable credentials. I think it's very interesting, being able to sort of assert a claim about someone else without needing a third party to also be involved.
Interesting, because that's actually a question I have for you next. Is I saw like, so you're in our Discord and stuff like that, and to me, from my perspective, maybe I haven't paid attention enough. It seemed like you were more focused on the decentralized web node side, even though I was like, Web5 has so many different aspects from like identity, verifiable credentials, all of that other stuff. But I thought you seemed a little bit more interested in like the data storage side. So I don't know if you want to like rebuttal that to me or clarify why maybe you're more on one side than the other.
Yeah, sure. I mean, these type of technologies and open standards, I mean, they're pretty revolutionary. And DID and verifiable credentials was what triggered me into this space. And then I think like decentralized web node is just the glue that puts it all together, makes it functional in a way. Right before, it wasn't that easy to get started with it. Where are you going to store your verifiable credentials? I mean, I've done a lot of research on different wallet software and stuff, but now we can actually just store them online. It's just super nice with the decentralized web nodes. And I mean, I use all of these technologies, and they're all super important part of Ariton. And it's just that decentralized web nodes become such a big thing, part of it eventually, because it's where you put all your data and where it's where you share your data and sync it. So yeah.
I think that's fair. I do think that makes sense because it's like you have a verifiable credential. Where are you going to store it and all that other information? I think that makes a lot of sense. And I am going to, fingers crossed that nothing happens with my Wi-Fi, and we can do this smoothly. But I'm going to start a quiz for the audience on DWNs before we jump back into talking about your super app that you've made and then diving into a demo. So fingers crossed that this works. we're back. Good job, y'all. I
Yeah.
see people in Discord answering the questions, and y'all did a great job at answering. I don't know if you could see some of the comments in Discord, because I know you're on one laptop and you're like not at home right now. But somebody wrote, somebody with the handle Milad said, "I hope you will be successful, my dear friend." So I thought that was a really sweet message that maybe you want to know.
Yeah. Nice.
Um,
I was
okay.
pretty sure it was donuts with Nutella, but I was wrong on the first question.
For what DWN stand for. I'm glad you enjoy my humor.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's going? There's another thing. Like I want to dive into the super app now. So you said you recently built what you call a super app for communities. I wanted to know like what exactly you mean by super app. How does this differ from traditional applications?
Yes, sure. There's various articles you can find online that sort of explain super apps and how they've been popular in Asia Pacific, and it's and there's also like I think Elon Musk have said that he wants to attempt to make X.com into a super app eventually. It started with WeChat, I think, was the most popular one in China, and there's other ones now in Asia as well. And there's documentaries actually made about why we don't have super apps in the Western world. There's a lot of reasons, and I've had a lot of discussions with other developers, and they're like, "Oh no, we should have one app. It should only do one thing. and should do it really well." Right? That's the argument often. But you end up with all these apps, and there's very little integration between them. And I'm also an open source developer, and I do a lot of different projects and apps. And the more the singular focused apps I make, the more like you have the build process, you have all the plumbing you need to do for all the apps. And I also want to make it easy for other people to sort of make new apps on a platform where you get stuff like storage automatically, you get the identity and authentication, encryption capabilities, and other things, right? So that's why I want to build this super app. And there's also a lot of functionality that I need personally for the communities I'm involved with. This is a main driver for the whole of Ayrton. It's actually my own personal need and the communities I'm involved with. Right, I'm not just making this for other people. I'm making this primarily for myself. That's the primary goal. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So wait, you did mention, I don't know if it's controversial and you can't get into it. You said there's some reasons on why like the Western world doesn't support or doesn't have super apps. Can I know like one or
Yeah.
two reasons?
Yeah, I saw these documentaries, and some people are talking about it might be competition laws, especially right on privacy laws, but you can't really share information between the apps and stuff. And we also have a different kind of economy and competition between corporations, I guess, in part of the world, especially in the app stores. And I'm a big fan of collaboration and making sure people work good together. Like it's important to compete and have a free market, but it's also important to share and collaborate. And we all build stuff on people that came before us, right? The stuff I do with Ayrton, it was impossible to do a year ago, right? You couldn't do this stuff a year ago. And next year, what we're going to be able to do then is going to be even more amazing.
Yeah, I love that note that you said about like collaboration. I think I really have that mindset of like instead of like hoarding all the knowledge and like just trying to compete with each other, we can make each other better by working together and sharing like, oh, here's how the method that I took, or you can use my platform, or kind of like how you said, like your app will be able to have other people to like they can add their own. It sounded like you said they can add their own apps to it as
Yeah,
well.
that's
That's kind of cool.
that's the goal. Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know you're so popular. Like there's so many people that are saying like you're a super dev. In Discord, people are like sending hearts and stuff like that. So I didn't know you were you get a lot of love.
Yeah. And we have a little community, open source community. So
Aw. I love it. All
yeah.
right. And then okay, so I think I don't know if this will be repetitive for you, but I'm curious if there's any like specific community needs or pain points that your app is addressing. I think you kind of like dived into some of it where it's like, you did dive into some of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's there's plenty of software to cover all the needs and the functionality I'm adding in myself into Ariton. Like, there's nothing revolutionary in terms of functionality here. The main difference that I see is that this is being built as an open source project. It's not connected to any national company that is registered anywhere. So we won't be it will be built in a more, say, free and free-spirited manner, where it won't integrate with the existing financial systems. Maybe it will have some integration with Bitcoin or blockchains. I think it's super important to build stuff maybe without having connection with blockchain, at least initially. So I'm not doing anything like that right now. But the thing is, like, I build this as a way of being a bit separate from the other systems. So you can go on a site today, you can purchase license, and you can do know your customer and do payments for these features. But what I'm building is I feel like it's from scratch again, right? Removing all of those existing institutions in a way that exist there. And that's the main difference. So it's not that new in functionality, it's just a bit different way of going about it, I think.
Yeah, a different way of interacting with the web, but underneath the hood, not really on the surface level. Okay, so we're gonna dive into the demo, but I'm gonna give you a moment to be able to like set your screen up, and I'll do that by playing the video I was trying to play in the beginning, which is like the monthly spotlight of our community members. Just on the same like note of like how you have a community, TBD has a community that we appreciate as well, and we want to highlight them. So I'll give you a chance to set your background up or put the app up and everything for you. So all right. I don't know if you're ready for me to put your screen on this. All right. Awesome.
Sure.
Here it is.
Okay, you can see my screen now. So good.
I see like your Windows background. Is that what you intend to share?
Yes, that's okay.
Awesome. Perfect.
So I'm going to share my desktop app. So Ariton, it's a web-based application. Maybe eventually we'll put it into the app stores, but first and foremost, I want it to be open and free. So it's just a progressive web app that you can run on any device and install it locally. And so this is the progressive web app version. You can also obviously just run in a tab. So I have another one, just want to show some integration. Communication. So what I'll start by doing is to actually wipe all data in both of these instances to just start from scratch. So there's no smoke or mirrors going on. So this is sort of the welcome to Ariton. And you can start by editing a profile. Added capability here to sort of choose a photo. And you can crop the photos quickly.
Oh, that's cute.
So there's a woman. Yeah, I used Bing AI to just generate some images. So here we have a woman, and the other one. Let's make here.
I might ask you to zoom in like just a little bit for your your app just a little bit, just because it
Yeah.
normally the resolution looks a little bit different once you
Let's see.
record.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Should be okay. Yeah, let's zoom in this as well. Here we go. So this is just basic profiles. Yeah, people can post hello world. Here can post messages. This you can also just either you can go and view it, and you can copy the URL to your friend, for example. Just open a tab, paste that in here, and then you see this post by a woman. It loads the profile and images here. So that's just basic posting. You have other settings. You can do bio, location, add links, and other things. You can also remove the photo if you want to. So that's the basic profile. And as you know about GIDs like this, it's long strings. So I added a capability to show QR code. So you can scan the QR, or you can just do copy the DID, share that with your friend. When you click the search up here, if that's visible, there's also a QR code. So you can enable sort of QR code scanning with your mobile phone PC. Just enter the DID. Then we can do add friend. Friend request was sent here.
Cool.
So one of the things I worked a lot on recently in Ayrton is the data sharing capabilities, because as you know, for those people who don't understand decentralized web nodes yet, it's basically like a hosted pod or a node in a way, where you install protocols, and in these protocols you define different rules on write access, right? And to be able to have some initial communication between two people, you need to have one of those protocols which is fairly open, right? So anyone can send you a request. And there's also another thing I want to mention is like I've been working a lot and giving a lot of feedback to the team at TBD to add new features and fix various bugs, etc. And one of the things that is coming very soon is sort of this subscribe capability, so you can reload data. And that's why I added this reload button here recently, because it's not supposed to be needed. So, but if I click reload here now, you will see the friend request coming in. So here you can see that there's a type of friend, and there's a message, and you see sometimes the photos here doesn't load properly. If you just go back and forth, it should cache and load this photo of this person. So I got a friend request from this guy. I can actually block him if I want to. If there's multiple requests coming in and you do a block, it will just delete everything. If I run delete here, the request will be deleted on both sides, or I can just accept it. In this case, let's accept it. And what happens now, as we talked about verifiable credentials, this is one of the verifiable credentials that is made in the application here, is that when you make a friend request, it makes a VC that, hey, I want to be your friend. And when you reply to it, you encapsulate that VC, create a new one, which also says that I want to be your friend. So you have this two-way verifiable credential stored here now. And then
I love that use case of VCs. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So now he appears here as a friend. If you have friend request, it will also appear here. I added basic messaging, so we can do like chat. Let me add some name to this profile, so I'll stay with. Now this is. Keeping it simple. Here we go. If we go to chat. Oh, I'll actually show this. If we're able to show it. Reload. See here. You see this credential now?
Credential, yeah.
Credential. And then it disappeared. So that's what it sent, return the verifiable credential. It was then processed, it goes to validation, and then you sort of become this friend here. Now that we become friends, we can have basic chat. Hello.
And it has emoji. It's cute.
Yeah, that's actually like in the operating system.
Built it. Okay.
Because I made a Nostr client before where we added emojis in the browser, but it's easy enough to lie on the built-in. So on chat as well, I am here. So this is just basic now. The idea is to maybe add more features, like sending photos, videos, and other things. Maybe money eventually, in some way or form. So that's the basic friendship stuff. Is the profile, add friends, and do chat. And then communities. This is actually just mock-ups right now. I haven't created this. This is a mock-up to create a new community. And these communities are, as you can see, it's just basic chat here. The idea is to have members. You can have events, media, and files. And the idea is that within a community, the community owner can install mini apps. So they can choose and decide if they want to have discussions there at all, or if it should just be a members list, for example. So that's just a mock-up for now. Chat is working. Marketplace is also a thing that's currently just a mock-up, where the idea is that people might buy and sell goods and services within a community, and this is then going to be like this overview across all the communities.
Yeah.
And then we have the apps, which is sort of like an app store, and these are the applications I've implemented so far. Chat we already had a look at. We have the files, which is basically like Dropbox or OneDrive. It's a fully functional file storage right now. And then we have notes and tasks. We will have a look at this. This is the first one I really worked on, all the collaboration and sharing of data. And one of the biggest sort of epiphanies you will have when you start working with decentralized web nodes that I got with my text application.
Oh.
And then you start realizing that sort of the data you put into Ariton, it's not stuck in Ariton. The idea is that you use it to manage your data, create your data, and own your data, but you can view it anywhere, share it anywhere in other applications. So we'll have a quick look at that later on. And player as well is sort of a feature I added to my Nostr client as well. I'll quickly show that because I like to have this capability. So as a song, like you can play music. You're going to be able to queue up music here. But I also have this. I'm not sure if it will be visible to see it, but if you look at the top of the screen now, there's this play.
I
this?
see it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cute feature.
So the idea is like you can't even do this with Spotify. And I remember growing up and we're using Winamp. Remember listening to MP3 files. So I want to be able to listen to podcast and music and other things in this like minimized view. So that's sort of one of the things I just recently started working on. So this is not complete yet. So let's just go over to files, create folders, and let's do photos. Then we can have lots of photos. Give you the photos here. Viewer can go full screen. You can download, and then you can also just delete it again. So, and then you can rename folder, delete folder with files, no problems. You can even upload videos. So this is like a copyright. This video is now public domain, so it's fine that I use it.
I actually have a question. Oh, keep going, but I have a question after.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. This is cool.
There's also PDF viewer, obviously, so you can view PDF. And music also, of course. So you can upload a few songs here. These are also royalty-free music. So, yeah. So that's the files. You had a question?
Yeah, I do have a question. So one, I did want to highlight, Moises J said, like, this makes me want to collaborate. This is awesome. And other people are saying, like, this is fantastic. But my question for you was actually, I'm curious because I see you talking a lot in the chat about like protocol roles and tags. Maybe it's not implemented yet, but I'm curious what parts of your application were you hoping to add roles or tags to, or where is it being used? Because I could see that like you have like the right writing and reading and being able to update and delete with decentralized web nodes, but I'm curious about like the other features.
Yes, I'll demonstrate that when we come to the tasks. It's a good question. So notes, just want to show this quickly. It's basically you can add some notes. So this is very similar to like Keep on Google, which I use a lot myself. You can change the colors. You can copy, and right now you can't share these, but that's also the ID. These are actually tags, for example, on decentralized web node records.
Yeah.
So these labels are actually indexed. So right now it's obviously just local, but when you have a lot of these nodes, we can eventually perhaps add search here or filtering, where you can search on these tags.
Cool.
Yeah, and then I want to demonstrate the text capability. So as you see here, when I click the new text here, I go full screen. It's a rich text editor. You can do like you can add photos, text. But for this demonstration purposes, I have uploaded a few images. So before I save this, I just want to show you. So I created this demo site called Ariton Magazine. Here you see. So it's just a template, free template I found. And I added capability to add the DID in the URL here. So you can load sort of content from different users. So if I now go in here and we say the sun is lovely. Just save this, and then you can turn publish on and off if you want to. Sun is lovely. If I go and copy my DID to this URL. If you're running this on a server, you will obviously maybe hide this DID itself. So here, the sun is lovely. So that article came out there. You can make another one with the other image. You get the ID here. And it also supports the labels as well. So you can do lifestyle and inspiration. Reload this article. So the tag hasn't been saved yet there for readout. But the thing is, like, I just want to show her, like, I'm editing this within Ariton. It was super easy, fairly easy to make this application. And now I have a blog in similar style of like WordPress. And here is the inspiration lifestyle also came out. So this is just a very good example.
Yeah, that's so cool. Wait, how is it connected? I didn't realize that text. I thought text was going to be like a notes section. But how is it? Okay, because you said through your did that's how the like blog feature is connected to the text.
Yes. So it queries this protocol of text here for this DID, finds the decentralized web nodes, and then retrieves the data that's needed to show this article.
This is cool. That might be my favorite feature from Ariton so far.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm curious, what's registries?
Okay, we can do registries now. So one of the things I'm working on is like discoverability of a lot of data, and there's a lot of databases out there, but it's hard to find some of them usually, right? So this is sort of I'm going to build some of these myself, but there's also going to be others that are building them. And one of them I started working on is this local company registry. Because when you realize that the only way to find companies today is basically either they need to have a website or it's through Bing or Google Maps. But there might be businesses that they don't want to expose their location, not GPS location, but they might want to say that I operate in this city, and you can contact me. So that's why I want to make this local company registry. This is just basically you can add some photos, and people themselves will sort of add this data in here. And the idea is that you can walk around with this app, and you have the GPS enabled, and you can see the businesses in your area. So that's idea behind that. I also want to do a shout out to my friend Alexander. He's made this fantastic Airtable database of like different kind of projects. So I wanted to sort of integrate it into Ariton so that I don't need to remember his URL, right, for his Airtable. So now it's all integrated in here. And there's other things I want to add as data sources here as well, if it makes sense. And the idea is also that different communities then can have their different registries. So my mom, she's a knitter, right? She makes gloves and sweaters, yes, and everything. And these knitting patterns, they are valuable, right? They try to protect them, and you can buy them for money, right? So to get in physical paper. So her community is one of the first communities I'm going to make on Earth, and it's like this knitting community. And then they can have these sort of registries of data available with tips and tricks or whatever in regards to knitting. Yeah. So the final demo, I think, is the tasks. So this is the one I worked the most on in terms of roles and permissions. So I can make a new list. I can add a few tasks here. And let's find the other instance. Here we go. I can now take this DID and let's try to share this. So you can add collaborators, as many as you want. I want to obviously be able to search for friends here, but you can also send this to anyone else. It doesn't have to be a friend. So if you're in a corporate setting, for example, you want to be able to just share this list with someone. What will happen now? Notifications is one of the things that it hasn't been implemented yet due to
subscription.
Subscription. So I also want to show now. So manage connections here. Reload. So you see, it's a similar sort of. It's the same inbox in a way as being a friend, but right now it's a connect request, a type of sharing data. Okay.
Okay.
And it says the application is tasks and the title is new list. And then I can choose to accept this sharing. It goes down here. It's a Weibo. And now if I go over here, if I go to, I can actually, from either here, I can now just jump directly to this new list point. So you see there's two different browsers, two different users. And then I want to show you basic editing. So shared list, press enter. As you see here, you can't edit the list itself. So I decided some rule. You're not the owner, yeah. I want the owner can rename and he can also delete the whole list, but a member is only going to be able to sort of check them out and edit. But right now that actually doesn't work due to a small little bug. This should be fixed, but it goes the other way. So I can rename, I can make them finished. Buy bananas, love bananas. So, and right now, since we don't have a push yet, I have the pull, and you see here, buy bananas, and the task was completed. Name changed and everything. So this is a space where I'm using roles to query and share access to this data here.
This is great. And I think a really good use of roles, because it's like, okay, if you're the owner, you were able to, like, I think it was like name the list and maybe delete the list. But if you're just a collaborator, you're not able to do that. And I can't wait for subscriptions to come out, because this is really going to like supercharge your application, I think. Because a lot of the stuff that you have is like you need to wait for an incoming notification. And I like the user experience as well, where it's like, okay, I can share a list with somebody, but I'm not just going to go ahead and share the list. I'm going to ask if like they're okay with accepting that data coming into their DWN rather than it just like being added.
Yeah. So there's one thing I want to show. So my idea was to have multiple lists like this, and you can drag and drop right across the list in different. The problem then becomes, what happens if you take it from one shared and you take it to a private one? It will disappear from the other user. So that's a challenge to figure out later on. Yeah. So the final thing I want to show in settings now, since I assigned the roles on task here, I also want to have like a global roles management for users. So that's why if you go to the settings, you can have manage roles. So here you can see that the application is task. Should be able to change this to a nicer name instead of having the namespace here. And you can see the role is a list collaborator, and it was assigned 3 minutes ago, right? And if I want to, I can delete this role assignment here now. And you can see the user it's assigned to. So yeah, so that's just one of the features I wanted to add to the settings to have this global roles management. The final thing I could show sort of how am I going to make money on this thing. One of them I'm thinking about having. I mean, at least when I use it, I really want to add just more data to this. I want to use it a lot. So I think a lot of users will put a lot of data into this. So I'm hoping that maybe I can set up a service where people can buy more storage for their DVN. And as you also know, and maybe some of the viewers doesn't know, is that at least for the next 2 years, there will be 1 gigabyte of storage free provided by the Centralized Identity Foundation, which then Ariton will rely on. And then I want to provide some options hosting for more storage eventually. Yeah.
This is so cool. So just for clarity, you're using the Google/diff DWN right now for people to have that 1 gigabyte?
No, right now I just use the TBD beta servers, and
Oh,
Ariton is still considered, this is just alpha
okay.
quality. It's not ready
Cool.
for public
You'll
release
do
yet.
that in the future, you're saying?
Yep.
Oh, this is cool. I like how you thought about, like, how is this going to make money? Because that's always like the number one question that people ask.
Yeah. So probably storage, and maybe make like a premium or premium features or something. We'll have to see eventually.
This is super well thought out. I know we have like 46, oh, well, not 46 minutes left. We have 15 minutes left or less now. And I think I saw a couple of questions in the chat, and like just people, I wish that you could see Discord, like definitely after the stream, go to Discord and just look at all the comments that people had. But one person was just asking, like, what different technologies did you use to build this super app? So I think we know that you use like Web5, DWNs, and credentials, but any other technologies?
Yes, this is built on Angular and Angular material for the sort of the visual UI widgets and everything, and TypeScript for language. And it's all on GitHub, using GitHub actions to build the code and deploy it. It's also hosted on GitHub pages right now.
Is this open source by any chance, or is it?
Yes, all of this is open source.
Really? Let me find your. Yeah, send us the link.
Go here in settings. Yes, so you can go here and let me see source code.
Okay. GitHub. Okay. I'll put it up. GitHub.com/blockcore Ariton, so that people can be able to check it out, because I think everyone's like really, they're loving it right now.
Yeah.
Ariton. And then I had a couple of questions for you as we wrap. Let me put this in Discord. Let me put it on the screen as well. If I can find my thing again. Plant. Okay. My other question to you was just that are there any parts, like I think this looks great, and I'm really excited about how you were able to leverage Web5, but I'm curious, like I guess this is like my DevRel brain, like are there any parts that you found that were a little bit challenging for using that you wish were a little bit of a easier developer experience?
It's taken, I think it took a bit longer for Web5, the SDKs and stuff by TBD to be released than I was planning, because I was following this since the beginning. And after I started working on it, it's fairly easy to get started. But then you go deeper and deeper into the details and you start integrating and using the DVNs and everything and SDKs. It's just there's a few bugs here and there because this is very new technology. So since Angular itself and all of those things are very stable, I don't have any issues with those things. So I can handle a few minor issues with the Web5 spec and stack, since it's I mean, it's not version 1 yet. It's a like 0 point something. So that's probably the biggest challenge. And I just want more features more quickly. I think the team is working very hard, but I want subscribe was supposed to be released now, but there was some issues with it. And yeah, but other than that, it's just been very a pleasure to work with Web5. I think, yeah.
That's great to hear, and we'll definitely try to get those out to you. My coworkers, thankfully, they put a couple of the comments from Discord into this platform we're on right now, just so you can see what they're saying. So someone Discord said, "Amazing app. This makes me want to collab." I think that was Moises. Someone said, "Super well thought and great super app." Someone said, "I think we all want to try Araton now anyhow." And so thank you. And other people said this is fantastic. So thank you so much for highlighting those. Okay, so I know that you want subscriptions to come out, but I'm curious, are there any other features that you're like, I really I'm excited for my application to evolve as the Web5 ecosystem matures as well?
Oh. I saw Daniel was commenting on Discord that, oh, yeah, I want to add this and this and this. And I think the most important is not to add too much features either, right? There's performance to consider. There's also adoption to consider. If there's too many features, right, it might be harder to adopt it. But for me personally, what I need in Ayrton, I mean, subscribe is super important to give that, so users just get the data flowing automatically with push updates instead of doing all these pull operations. That will help a lot. And eventually, I think maybe some optimization on network traffic and sync and everything. That has to be tuned. And maybe it should be possible for a software developer to choose sort of sync differently depending on device. Because if you're on a mobile phone, you don't want to sync as often, maybe, right? Because you use battery and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't even think about the optionality for different devices in terms of subscription. Yeah, I think this is a really good app. Okay, my last question regarding your application in Web5 is, do you have any advice for any developers? I'm sure you're inspiring people right now. They're like, I want to build something with Web5 or DWNs or verifiable credentials. Do you have any advice for any developers who are interested in getting started and leveraging these tools?
The easiest thing is just to fork Ayrton and just do npm install, npm start, and it just works, right? And then you can just start hacking from there. And the source code itself is horrible at the moment, right? There's a lot of copy paste. I had just focused on making functionality. As you can see, it's fairly rich in terms of functionality already. It's just me developing the whole thing. And I've just done it. I just quit my job to work on this. I'm trying to get some funding to work on this. I'm using my savings right now. If I don't get any funding, I will need to find a solution for that. But this I will continue working on for as long as I can. And if anyone wants to contribute in any way, like fix small bugs and whatever, just make pull requests on GitHub. That would be fantastic. I just love getting contributions from people.
Yeah, and if we knew, I didn't know your project was open source. The Hacktoberfest is going on right now. This might have been a really good opportunity. I think you could still probably label some things like Hacktoberfest issues, and that could attract a lot more people to contribute to your project as well. And I think it's fun. It's so exciting. All right, so we're gonna start kind of wrapping up. And usually what I do to wrap is I ask this has nothing to do with tech. I usually ask some silly questions. Or I make some silly statements. So this particular, I guess, quote unquote game is basically I say a statement. It's not necessarily one that I believe, but you'll do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And to the statement, and if you want to expand on why you feel that way or why you don't, then you can. So it'll be let's say I say I like pineapples on pizza, and then you can say yep, or you can say nah, I don't like that. So you do. And then
who doesn't?
Someone, my coworkers highlighted that there's a couple of help wanted issues that are open right now on Araton. So y'all go ahead and check those out right now if you want to get involved and collaborate. All right, so I'm gonna start the questions. The first one, or the statement, is I'd rather go on a hike than spend a day at the beach. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down. Okay. Me too.
The beach.
I'm like, why would I want to work hard? And also for the audience, if you want to participate as well, you can do that with your emojis. And also Ebony said they love that you're putting your all into this. I think she's referencing the fact that you said, you ended up quitting your job and you're trying to get people to invest in this. I think it's a great idea. Maybe, I don't know how incubation for TBD works, but maybe that's something that can happen for you in the future where you become part of the incubator program. I don't know. And then let's see, another statement is social media. I believe social media has done more harm than good for interpersonal relationships. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
If it's done more harm,
yeah, than good.
I think it's mostly good. Yeah.
Me too. I think it's helped connect a lot of people, or at least for me personally, right? I've gotten to connect with a lot of people I probably wouldn't have. It's been great for my career and just like my overall like personal life. All right, and then the last one is I'd rather explore the depths of the ocean than outer space. It's a hard one, I think.
Outer space.
Outer
Definitely.
space. I don't know which one for me. I think both sound scary. Like I just want to be on land where it's safe for me. Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. So now we reached the end of the stream. I don't know if you have any last things that you want to highlight or say to people. I want to remind people to go ahead and go to github.com/blockcore/Araton if you want to contribute or fork the project and get started with something similar of your own, or even add, I know you said you had directories or registries that you had like people putting businesses into. I don't know if people want to do that too, but is there anything else you want to plug?
No, not really. There's it's very early still in the development of the application. I'm planning on maybe having a public alpha release early next year.
Okay.
Sort of still nailing out the ideas and what it's going to be and everything. There's a lot of opportunities. It's very generic, right? If someone takes this, you can find a sector where you want to develop an application, and you can modify everything and adapt it to a specific sector and maybe sell it or do whatever. Right? It's MIT license. So I don't care what people are doing with my software. If they can earn money on it, copy it, share it, and just happen.
Yeah. Collaboration for the win. All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you so much for everyone that tuned in. Oh, wait, I'm reading some comments. Ocean is scary, outer space. And someone said, except I can become an Aquaman. That's hilarious. But yeah, thank you so much to the audience for tuning in and being super engaged and asking questions. And also thank you to you, Sondre, for just not even just only coming on this live stream, but making your project open source, making sure that you're prioritizing collaboration and helping to elevate other developers. I really love that. As the stream ends, I say stick around because I'm going to play a video that gives you some insight into Hacktoberfest that's going on right now. So if you want to get involved in any of our Web5 projects, we have a lot of them ranging from AI projects to working with progressive web apps and decentralized web apps, and maybe helping to improve our DWN. So go ahead and stick around for that. And I'll see y'all next week, Friday, where we'll be talking with Doc Labs. Bye.
Bye.